Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to call our meeting to order and thank everyone for being here tonight. And if everyone at this time would join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. This time we're going to have our pledge, and we have 3 students that's going to lead us in the pledge tonight from Greenville Elementary. These students, if you would come forward, Aiden Vick, Mason Saylor, and Emma Fitzhugh. Please stand. Attention. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, board members, we're down to approving the minutes of the prior board meeting. Everyone has had a chance to review this in your packet. Is there anything that needs to be changed? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Wells.
Second.
Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the minutes of the prior board meeting, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Approving the agenda. Is there any items that need to be added? If not, I need a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Johar, and I will second. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And recognitions, Ms. Embry.
Well, good evening, board members and guests. I'd like to begin by saying a big welcome to our newest board member, Ms. Kim Bard. Welcome to the Board of Education. We're excited to have you. Thank you. Okay, on behalf of the school district, we want to thank you, board members, for your commitment in helping our Muhlenberg County School District move forward. In case you're not aware, January is National School Board Recognition Month, and so I'd like to thank you in this public setting for your service. You are responsible for making decisions aimed at ensuring that every child in our district has a chance to succeed in school and in life. You are among the more than 850 school board members in the state's 173 local school districts. As a way of saying thank you for your dedication and service, the Muhlenberg County School District has a few items for you. First, you'll receive a certificate of appreciation here in just a few moments from the Kentucky School Boards Association, thanking each of you for your service as board members. You'll also receive a framed map of the school district with your particular district enlarged. And finally, you have before you a tumbler from the Muhlenberg County School District to remind you that you are very appreciated. So I want to begin with our chairperson, Ms. Stephanie Rager. Mr. Davis, if you'll come down and we'll grab a nice picture of this certificate and this frame.
Can we do this?
Ms. Rager represents the 5th District. As a Bremen native, she's married to Mr. Greg Rager, and they have 2 sons, Brent and Clay. Next, our Vice Chairperson, Ms. Susan Wells. Ms. Wells represents our 3rd District and resides in Greenville with her husband, Scott. They have 2 children, Jeremy and Kristen Wells. Then representing District 1, Mr. Rajiv Johar. Mr. Joe Hart resides in Central City with his wife Tammy and children, and I always mispronounce. The only one I can pronounce correctly is Debica. So I'm going to let...
Dia and Ishan.
Thank you. Dia and Ishan.
There you go. Thank you.
Representing District 2 is Mr. Darrell Bowers. Come on down. Mr. Bowers resides in Beachmont with his wife Doris. They have 2 children, Dawn Latham and Dee Bowers, along with a grandchild, I believe. 2 grandchildren, I'm sorry.
2 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren.
My goodness, you're a busy man.
And he plays golf on top of that.
Oh, yeah. And last but certainly not least, our newest board member representing the 4th District, Mrs. Kim Carter Bard. Ms. Bard resides in Greenville with her husband, Tom. And if you ever get a chance, ask her some fun things that she does on the side. Again, we just want to thank you all for your service to our county, to our school district. You have a very tough job a lot of times, and we truly appreciate your service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carla. Treasurer's report, Mr. Blitzinger.
Thank you, Chairman Rager, distinguished board members. This month, I bring you the financials as of December 31st, 2018. On the revenues this month, our beginning balance was $20 million. The revenues this month were about $2.844 million. The beginning balance is up by about $3 million, and the monthly receipts, however, are down by $3.85 million from last month and $570,000 from the same period last year. This is primarily in taxes because we did get a larger amount initially this year, so it was a larger amount that first month. So it'll see it taper off again. Our federal is down $172,000. Again, our taxes are down $3.8 million. However, our other receipts are up $176,000 for a total revenues and securities of $23.1 million. Our expenditures this month, our total accounts payable were $583,964. Our total payroll expenses were about $2.74 million for a total expenses of $3.3 million. The accounts payable, it's down about $89,000 from the same period last year. And again, this was spread between all the funds, so there wasn't any fund in particular that was hit harder than the others. Significant bills in December was $29,575 to Carr, Riggs, and Ingram for our financial audit this year. And again, in comparison to other districts our size, that's a very, very reasonable price. So payroll is down about $87,000 versus December of 2017. I think this was in retirements, so that it happened mid-year last year. So it didn't affect us at this point. So the accounts payable breakdown, other fixed mixed expenses accounted for $316,000, utilities expense about $111,000, and variable expenses are about $157,000. So total accounts payable was about $583,910 again. Of that, $420,000 was general fund. Special revenue was almost $50,000, and food service and daycare was $113,000. The ledger balance at the end of the month was about $19.8 million. Of that, $11 million was cash. There was the $8 million invested in CDs is valued at about $8.1 million at this point. So we've gained about $156,000 over the past year in interest. So that's a good return. The other stocks and bonds that is for Greenville Elementary is at $559,000. Our outstanding checks are about $604,000. This is primarily in payroll, outstanding payroll checks and CRS wires. Those payroll checks could be to vendors, for insurance, 401k contributions, those sorts of things. That's what the payroll outstanding checks primarily fall in. So the breakdown of that 19.8 million is as follows. Our special revenue fund, Fund 2, it's down about $227,168. This is, we still have not received a lot of our federal cash reimbursements. So some of this was tied to government shutdown and from what we've been told from KDE. However, the one that I did just submit is we've received it now. So you'll see this number go up next month. So I don't know how that delayed it since we're still shut down, but that's the guidance we were given from KDE. But again, the 19.8 million, that's down 484,000 from the previous month. The extended financial picture is as follows. In May of 2019, we expect to have a cash balance of about $14.1 million. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions? If not, I will need a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Motion by Mr. Bowers and a second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And payment of bills and salaries, Mr. Walton.
Thank you again. This month, I bring to you $343,727.04 in board bills. General fund accounts for almost $254,000. Fund 2 is about $15,000. Construction of $4,000, and debt service is almost $71,000. Significant checks this month, or for this, these board bills are Old National Wealth Management for $61,613. That is a debt service payment that's on principal. The other remaining $10,000 is in fees and whatnot. Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court was $31,201. That's for a payment of a salary. And then there was a check for $20,473 to the sheriff's office for the tax collections.
What rate are they charging on tax collection?
I believe it's 2.5%.
So you did negotiate a little bit?
I have not negotiated it this year.
Not this year?
Correct.
From previous years it's down?
It's really that when I've done a comparison to other counties, that's actually a fair rate. The law says that they have to justify anything above a 2%, and they've shown it in the tax collection fees that they've had, or the costs associated with collecting those.
What was our collection rate again, Eric? It was 90-something%.
It's when I got here it was 85%, and then in the last few years it's been 95 and above. So it's been significantly better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions on the payments of bills and salaries? If not, I'll make a motion to approve payment of bills and salaries. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving bills and salaries, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next is payment of school bills. Everyone's had a chance to review this. If there's nothing of importance to discuss, I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Wells. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of paying school bills, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Down to public participation. And no one has signed up, so we will move on down to the administrative report and superintendent report.
Thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. We'll start off before we get to our principals and our kids, which I think is going to be excellent tonight, by the way. But we won't make you follow that, Craig, because that would be really difficult. So we'll go with Craig. He's going to give us an update on the Bremen ballpark. Been waiting on it for a good while, and so I think we're getting closer. And he'll give you a quick update. He did hand this out. I'll let you know. All of you should have this.
Well, thank you, Superintendent Davis, and welcome to the board, Ms. Bard. I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight, and what I've given you is just a short synopsis of what has taken place, and I'd like to bring the board up to speed and Ms. Bard up to the project. As most of you all know, you received a grant for $950,000 to do the project, which gave us a construction budget of about $835,000. We went out to bid. We had extreme trouble getting bidders interested in the project and willing to bid the project. After contacting, I want to say, in excess of 20 general contractors, we were able to get 2 contractors to bid the project. As you all recall, the project came in extremely over budget at basically $1.1 million, and that did not include the field lighting because the field lighting was being purchased from the state purchase list. So, as you can tell, we were extremely over budget. So the first thing we did, we met with Mr. Davis, the building committee. Some of those members are here. We looked at how we could change the project. Originally, we had a small baseball field, a large Babe Ruth field. We had restrooms and sections in between them. We had, at both fields, we had a set of 2 dugouts. They were masonry with chain link infill. And then we had a freestanding off behind the school, a basketball court with Gorilla Goals on it, okay? So as we went through the process, working with the building committee, we were able to eliminate the large field, enlarge the smaller field to make it a little bit bigger so it could handle more than just T-ball, it could handle Little League. And we changed the dugouts from masonry to chain link. We changed a lot of the site concrete we had. We got rid of the logos that we had. If you'll remember, we had softballs and soccer balls and that stuff in the concrete. And so we went into competitive negotiation with the 2 low bidders. We sat down, we met with them, we found out the things that they saw that we could change, et cetera, got with the building committee, made those changes, received the post-bid addendum bids back. Unfortunately, one of the 2 bidders backed out. So we were down to 1 bidder. We did not reduce the cost enough to get it within budget. So at that point, we went into direct negotiation with that contractor. We met with them again. They came back and they gave us some modifications that would then get us into budget. In the meantime, the person, Musco Lighting, who has the state price contract, was able to negotiate with them, get the lighting price down from $300,000 to $115,000 because we weren't lighting the big field, the big baseball diamond. We were going to use a pole to backlight what would become the soccer area, if you will. And so we were able to get that price down, and we got the general construction price down. So at that point, we were roughly $20-something thousand under budget. 21,453 under budget. So instead of being at 835,000, we were 21,000 under that. We met with the building committee again. They wanted to see if we eliminated the basketball court and the goals, how much that would save, so that we could then get the concession stand made out of masonry. When we did the direct negotiation, the contractor, one of his suggestions was to build a wood-framed concession building with brick veneer, which won't last or won't hold up as well as a block building would. So at this point, where we stand right now, we've got roughly $76,000 in hopes of being able to get one or all of the 3 following things. 1, go from a wood-framed concession restroom building to a masonry block with brick veneer. 2, when we do the dugouts, instead of just doing chain link dugouts, do the original design with the masonry with the chain link infill. And 3, to try to add 2 more lights to the back side of the pole to better light the soccer field. So Since we've met, I have both emailed and verbally spoken with the general contractor, and he's working on the 2 items with him. And we're in the process of playing phone tag with Musco, and we'll get with him to see what we can do. So our goal is to be back in February, hopefully, with a project that the building committee is willing to bring to you all to move forward. And we would need to get you all's action on several items the next board meeting. And so I'll be more than glad to answer any of your questions. I tried to keep that short and concise, but if you'll have questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
So the basketball court has been taken away.
Well, it hasn't been finalized, taken away.
But that's
We can get $52,000 if we don't build the basketball court. And to be quite honest with you, I think you can get it done cheaper than that through your current contracts you have with road builders. The Gorilla Goes themselves, you can purchase those from anywhere from $1,800 to about $2,700 each, depending on what features you get. And you got a maintenance staff that can install them, so there's little to no cost to install it. The earthwork in that area was not a large chunk, and so it's just gravel and asphalt at that point. And you've got an asphalt program, I think, that you probably implement either every year or every other year to do your parking lot, so you could probably tag it onto one of those and get that done outside the project.
That was a bigger deduct than we thought it would be, so it may be better use those funds elsewhere.
Do that outside.
We were
Basketball is needed, though.
It is.
In a park without a basketball,
the thing is, Bremen has right there by the community center, a new basketball court anyway, which was within, a couple hundred yards for the community. This will be more of a recess kind of thing for our kids, which is nice, but there is one in Bremen that, so we're thinking, they kind of have
If you were in
that
the park, you could
very
still do
close.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If y'all remember when we brought the aerial showing how the park was laid out, the 2 baseball diamonds were beside one another, and the basketball court was directly behind the school, not far from where the kitchen cafeteria was. So really, they weren't connected to one another. You weren't, generally speaking, that was more, as Mr. Davis said, a playground piece where the baseball diamonds were freestanding away from the building. I think they're on the west side of the building, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Thank you, Craig. All right, we'll jump into our principals and our kids. So we'll start with Mr. Sharp and Bremen.
Doing good, how are you? Hello, I want to give a shout out to our new SRO, Brent Robertson. He's doing a great job getting into our school classrooms this year. Our teachers really working on champs, going back over lessons and building expectations with our kids. We recently had a data night, and all our grade levels came in and they shared the data with their parents. And 3rd grade had a performance of Northern Lights, which is the thematic unit about the Inuits. We're getting ready for a visual and performing arts festival, which is January 31st. We have a session for our students during the daytime, and then one for the general public at 5:30. Working toward the 100th day of school. That's a big thing for kindergarten students. We're going back over the essential 55 rules by Ron Clark, which is rules that help with build manners and eventually build soft skills. And I want to give a big thank you to all of our board members. Thank you for continued support of our school, and you can come anytime you like, and I'll let you even dump a tray at lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Ms. Hicks, Central City.
Good evening. On January 8th, we sent a team on a school visit to Heath Elementary School and observed their primary PLCs and their flex grouping program, which was very interesting. Also on January 8th, we inducted 36 new members to our Beta Club. Most of those are 4th graders because that's the first time they could join. But so we have 4th graders and 6 new 5th graders. Happy School Board Appreciation Month. This morning we hosted our quarterly breakfast breakfast with the principal, pancake breakfast, and we had 5 parents and 1 board member who joined us, and we appreciate that. Coming up, Monday, February the 4th, you're invited to bring your passports and join us on a world tour. We're going to have our annual multicultural fair. Each grade level is studying, each taking a different country to research and present. We'll have the Confucius bus there from Western Kentucky University. And the next day, Tuesday, February 5th, we'll be celebrating our Chinese New Year, so we will be taking Hua, our Chinese parade dragon, for a tour around the school. So you're invited to attend and bring your passports and get your stamps. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks. Ms. Jones, Greenville Elementary.
Well, the second semester is off to a smooth start at Greenville Elementary. Kids have hit the ground running, working hard. Our teachers have PLCs today, all day working on looking closer at data and trying to target specific areas of focus together with various support teams as well. I have some 5th grade visitors tonight that are going to present a couple of things. I have Emma Fitzhugh, as she is from Miss Howell's class, 5th grade. She is the daughter of Troy and Amy Fitzhugh. Mason Saylor is in Miss Belisle's 5th grade class. He is the son of Will and April Saylor. And Aiden Vick is in Miss Belisle's 5th grade as well, and he is the grandson of Ralph and Mona Vick. So they're going to start out. Miss Belisle's class, I came back this week and they had a stack of persuasive letters, and they were very persuasive. They did convince me to give them the opportunity to work on a project. So they have wanted to present to you what they're going to be working on. So they're going to come up and I'm going to let them tell you more about their project.
I'm Aiden Vick, and this is Mason Saylor.
Hello, and thank you for having us. We are here tonight on behalf of our 5th grade class at Greenville Elementary to educate you about an exciting project our class is involved in.
Our class has participated in many service learning projects this year, but the project I'm going to tell you about definitely hits home for us. For the past 5 years, we have shared a friendship with a student who has lived his entire academic life in a wheelchair. He is very fortunate to have a family who supports him and meets his needs, but some are not as blessed. We feel that the project we are about to discuss is very worthwhile and meaningful. There is a foundation called Danielle Cares for Chairs. It was started by a 17-year-old high school student in Indiana. The foundation is committed to a single goal:
striving to make the world a better place. Danielle Cares for Chairs collects bread tags, just like this, and promotes initiatives to serve the people who need it most. They take bread tags to a recycling plant where the funds go to help clients who need wheelchairs. We hope that you will join us in supporting this effective program that is bound to make a measurable difference in the lives of others. Please help us reach our goal of purchasing 1 wheelchair for someone in need. Our goal is 250,000 bread tags. This will cover the cost of 1 wheelchair.
I know what you're thinking. That's a lot of bread tags. We know that we can't do this alone, so that's why we're here. We hope you will join us in this life-changing project. Our teacher has even made an appeal on social media notifying the community of our project. If we all work together, this goal will be accomplished in no time at all. Please, won't you join us? Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Good job.
Very good job.
Now, they weren't prepared for a few questions if you had any, but I do want to ask if they can't find it on Brit, are there other places they can get those? Can they find those tabs other places?
Yes, they're on different packages, like solo cups, those red solo cups you can buy. Me and my grandmother went to the store actually asking. They said, let's see, just different produce, like, and bags can have it on it. There's a lot of different stuff that can have it on it.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the next part of the presentation, we did want to show our appreciation at Greenville Elementary to our school board members. And we have a leadership club that's made up of 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. And both Emma and Mason are a part of that club. And the club met last week, and they thought it would be great to kind of come up with the top 10 things that they feel like the school board is responsible for. So they are going to share, someone is going to come over here. And Aiden's going to hold their poster for them in the middle. See what you all stand this way so they can see you. All right, so this is their top 10. So I'll hand it over to Mason.
Who moved the line?
Number 10, they protect us. Number 9, they pay our teachers. Number 8, they let us have good food. Number 7, they check on us at school. Number 6, they make our recess too short. Number 5, they make our teachers give us too much homework. Number 4, buy uncomfortable chairs to keep us awake and Number 3, they make us work too hard. Number 2, they hire good and crazy teachers. Number 1, they keep teachers on task.
Thank you so much. Oh, that's good job, guys. That's awesome.
Great job.
Thank
I don't know if that's
you.
gonna be anything.
Students, that's an outstanding job. It's so hard to get up in front of folks and do that, and y'all did so well. That is so impressive. And David Letterman would be proud for y'all that are old enough to understand that top 10 list. Mr. Hardison, Longest Elementary.
Here comes his booth.
Thank you, Mr. Davis and the board members. Just want to give you a couple items to update you on things going on this elementary. First of all, I want to welcome Ms. Barr to our board. So thank you for taking on this leadership responsibility. We're excited a couple things. We've got Brent Robertson, our new SRO, working with us as well. We've talked to him, and we have plans to get a leadership group going with that. So we're excited about that opportunity to mentor some students and get them going in a positive direction. A security update. We have recently this week installed our panic button, and so I don't know if I've totally got that green light as far as that being 100% complete, but that is in the works, and they've got that going. So that we appreciate the support from you guys and our tech guys for getting that security item in place. Tuesday night, we had a great parent night. That was one of our updates, or one of our events after our grade card release. We had 386 people join us that night, big turnout. Very pleased with that. A lot of good, positive conversations going on and giving parents updates on where we are in the school year. Very pleased with the 3rd and 5th grade students that recently competed at the Muhlenberg Community College during the spelling and math competition, 3rd and 5th grades. They did quite well, so very proud of them. Academic team's doing very well this year, undefeated so far, with one match left next Thursday. I want to update you on something fun going on in our Monday morning assemblies. We have our PE teacher, Ed McGill. She's got a little segment going. It's called Soft Skills with McGill, and it's like a little segment going on for a few minutes, and we teach a funny little skit per week talking about a soft skill of the week. We have a lot of fun with it, and I think you guys may enjoy that. One more thing. I had Miss Lily Cheney with us here last month. Miss Lily, I mentioned to you she was going to be singing the national anthem at the Western Kentucky basketball game, and an outstanding job. Amazing. She is scheduled to sing the national anthem at the Mustang basketball game on the February the 8th. So if you're out checking out the Mustangs on that night, you'll see Lily sing the national anthem. All right, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Renee Kincaid, one of my 5th grade teachers. She has some great students, and we want to present something to our board members. Also, board members, there's a thank you card from the school employees as well.
Well, Mr. Hardison came to me and said, it's National School Board Member Month, Recognition or Appreciation Month, and he said, you got any fifth grade students that might want to do something? I said, sure, I've always got students that want to do things. So there were actually 5, Lily's not here tonight, and we brainstormed some things that we might do, and they decided that they were going to make you all a bookmark. I think you already have that. And they were going to make a card. I think you have that also. And then we kind of worked together on a letter, which you all have a copy of, that let me introduce them, I'm sorry. This is Levi Coyne, Addison Latham, Hannah Carver, Kinley Alverson. They're 4 fifth grade students, and Levi's going to read the letter that we came up with.
County Schools Board. As fifth grade students of Untitled Elementary, we would like to take this opportunity to thank you for all you do for the children and schools in Mecklenburg County. We know you spend hours reading materials, preparing for meetings, passing policies, answering questions, and making decisions for our schools. We want you to know that we truly appreciate all of these things. In closing, we want to say, Mrs. Rager, Mrs. Wells, Mr. Bowers, Mr. Johar, and Mrs. Bard, it is an honor and a privilege to have you serve as a Mecklenburg County School Board members and to have you bear the responsibility of success of our school system and of our community's children.
Thank you so much. Thank you. By the way, Levi, you play awesome basketball too. Huh? You made us lose the other night, But you done an awesome job.
Undefeated season here.
Yeah, and basketball and academic team too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Sherry does a good job with her.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I think we have Ms. Sherrod here for Mr. Wells, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
South Elementary.
At South Elementary, our staff this week, we went to Burns Elementary in Owensboro, got some great ideas. We had several teachers that were representing various grade levels within our school, and it was a very tremendous visit. Our Family Resource Center was able to serve over 71 families for Christmas. That was a fantastic, it's a very high number for us, but we were able, and glad that we were able to serve that many students in our community and families. Our deaf and hard of hearing unit, they participated in a spelling bee this week, and we had one student, Sophia McIntosh, who placed in the top 10 in the state of Kentucky, so we're proud of her. And also our daycare is continuing to do very, very well. We're very proud of that. It is serving a wonderful, wonderful need in our community, and we may report on that every time, but it's something that we're really proud of. And also our grandparent, and out-of-home care support group will be meeting this month. We're proud of that also. Thank you all.
Thank you. And I think a beta convention and a ball game has meant Miss Markwell is here to represent Muhlenberg North Middle.
That's right. We would like to thank the board members for their service and recognition for School Board Recognition Month. And I'm sure you all have already received an email from Mr. Rager inviting you to lunch at 12 noon on Wednesday, January the 30th. On December the 18th, we had a recognition assembly and student versus staff basketball game. Of course, the students beat the staff. We recognized students for the highest winter math scores in reading and math, and those students with considerable increases. We had a large number of students that increased by 10 points or more. That's equivalent to about 2 grade levels above. So that was really good. We also presented students with perfect attendance awards such as Attendance Rocks earbuds. Officer Ricky Allen was recognized for his service as SRO in North Middle, and we presented him with a customized North Middle Louisville Slugger bat with his name of Ricky Allen Sheriff on it.
You should have got him a dozen donuts.
Miss Kentucky Katie Bouchard will participate in our mother and daughter night at North Middle on February the 12th from
5:30 to 7:30. We want to invite all the board members to stop by. No date has been confirmed yet for our annual Father and Son Night. We currently have 85 students participating at the Kentucky Junior Beta Convention in Louisville presently, and we're very proud of those students to represent our school and county.
Thank you. I will say I witnessed the ball games, and the staff led for like the first 4 or 5 minutes. I think cardio may have played a role in the comeback, but they ended up getting beaten soundly. Mr. Lyle, member of South Middle School.
The following students, we had 6 students who participated in the KMEA 3rd District All-District Band, so we're very proud of those students. Also, I think it's our 2nd or 3rd year of KYA, which is our Kentucky Youth Assembly, sponsored by Miss Crystal Chappell, and students getting involved in government and writing bills and that whole process. And they went to Frankfurt on December 9th. We had an 8th grade group who presented on EpiPens in schools, and a 7th grade group who presented a bill on smoking in vehicles with children. So they did a lot of work on that. The 7th grade Bluegrass bill, it had the honor of presenting their legislation in the Capitol Annex, and their bill passed the Senate but was held up in the House like many other bills on that day. But our 8th grade, it went on and it presented its bill to the Senate where it passed, and so congratulations to Nolan Fleming, Corbin Lanier, who is the primary sponsor, and Cassie Greenwald for that accomplishment. And then we also had one of our 7th graders receive the Outstanding Delegate, Miss Natalie Reddish. So very proud of him. And then to honor our board members for Board Appreciation Month, on next Thursday, I've sent out an email, I'll send out another reminder that we'll have our Thank You Thursday to honor our board members, as well as our central office leadership team and our tech department as well. So that'll be next Thursday, the 24th at 11:45. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyle. I think we have one of those groups working on a pension bill. Is that correct? Middleburg County High School, Ms. Bumps or Mr. Carver, both here tonight.
We're tag teaming.
All right.
Make sure I don't have a hot or hiding out there, especially when we're living here. You see you're out there? Okay. Well, I'll get back to that one in a moment. Welcome, Ms. Bard and board members, and thank you all, as always, for everything you do for our county and for the students in Muhlenberg County schools. Lots of things are happening at Muhlenberg County High School. As Mr. Davis already said, junior beta is going on. We just finished up senior beta earlier this week, and the following students placed at state beta. Lexi Miller placed 4th in speech. Haley Cornett placed 1st in agri-science. Annie Brzezinski placed 2nd in the 10th grade language arts. In visual arts division 2, Matt Thompson placed 5th in woodworking. Eric Moore placed 2nd in drawing. Sydney Harper placed 2nd in jewelry, and it was very beautiful. In the visual arts division 1, we have Bara Ballou placed 2nd in photography. Mason Thompson placed 1st in woodworking. Rayleigh Chadwick placed 4th in sculpture. And our living literature, their theme this year was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, if you've ever seen that with Kevin Costner. But that was 2nd place, and that was really neat. Sarah Knopfsinger placed 2nd in recyclable art division 1. And if you see Courtney Peebler, we now refer to her as Madam Secretary because she is now the state beta secretary officer. So we're very excited about her. We also want to give a big shout out to our local law enforcement, definitely our SROs and state police over the last few days have been very helpful at the high school, and really thank them for taking time out and coming to help out myself as well as the other administrative staff, but most importantly helping our students feel safe. So very thankful for them for being able to do that. We had Matt Luckett and 2 former Muhlenberg County graduates, Cameron Crick and Josh Noakes, to come and speak to our sophomores about our new AIT program that we will be introducing next year at Muhlenberg County High School. This was made in part through a collaboration with the Martin Foundation of a $500,000 grant with this AIT. So we're in the process of getting that new equipment ordered, and then we'll begin that installation this summer, and then the process of the first round of classes. Students will earn up to 6 hours of college credit, and these are free hours of college credit, and should they finish the program through their senior year, they will walk out with a product, which is a guitar that they will have made. So we're very excited about this particular program. Our swim team, obviously they're competing tonight as we're here. Winter formal went off without a hitch. We're very proud of that. And then in 2 classrooms in our U.S. History Department, they are studying the Roaring 1920s. And unfortunately, Allison, I guess, couldn't be here tonight. But one of the things that they're doing in Miss Pate's class is called a pachaka-cha. And what a pachaka-cha is, it's a Japanese for a chit-chat. A true pachaka-cha is a presentation style that consists of 20 slides with 20 seconds per slide using presentation software such as PowerPoint. The students were limited to only 5 slides in order to do that. They could not have any notes in front of them. They could choose what they wanted to speak about during the 1920s, but whatever they chose had to focus around these 5 main objectives. They had to describe and evaluate the impact of scientific technological innovations of the 1920s. They had to be able to identify and evaluate the impact of new cultural movements, on American society in the 1920s. They had to identify the characteristics of social conflict and social change that took place during that time period, as well as identify and explain the economic factors that contributed to the stock market crash during that time and the Great Depression. And last but certainly not least, they had to be able to deliver a well, clear, and factual oral and visual presentation. And I think Mr. Davis was able to join us one day, and I was quite impressed with our students and their ability to speak well. Of course, obviously being able to speak without any notes, a lot of reference is definitely one of those soft skills traits that we're looking for. And then in Ms. Durham's class, they have been completing and making podcasts about the 1920s. So anyway, just lots of great things happening at Muhlenberg County High School. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Watkins, Renaissance Center.
Just to kind of echo what a couple others have said, big thanks to one of our new SROs, Brent Robertson. He's been to our building the last 6 or 7 months and helped us with check-in, greet kids off the bus. So very thankful and grateful for his presence. An update on enrollment. We have, as of today, 33 students enrolled in ALC and 51 enrolled in the MOVE program. Those 51 students in the MOVE program, 66 credits have been earned. We have 6 students who have completed their requirements to graduate in the spring. On January 29th, Brian Hancock, who is now the Business and Community Liaison at the Muhlenberg County Job Corps, is coming to speak to our students to discuss the different offerings and programs that are available to not just kids everywhere, but our kids here in our community that often forget about what is out there. Also, to follow up, on the next day, I'm taking 3 guys out who plan to live on their campus and are interested in automotive and welding programs. I'm going to take them for a tour. Possibly Mr. Freeman, he goes with his son. Really excited about that. It's a few guys that have been with us for a few years, and I'm hoping that they will take advantage of this opportunity. And lastly, thank you all for your support and what you do for our students and staff. And please come by anytime, and I'll be glad to show you around our building. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Watkins. And I'll echo what several have said about our SROs and our law enforcement. It's kind of difficult to overstate how important they are and have been in the last week. And I don't think there's many other districts that have the support we do. They're just, you text and they're there. They're above and beyond. And I'm just so grateful, and our SROs are great as well. It is Board Recognition Month. I want to say it from us, from Central Office here, we appreciate you so much. You guys are supportive. You're definitely inquisitive and wonder what's going on, but you support, and you're great to work with, and I very much appreciate it. I think Joe Cooper has something that she's come up with, kind of unique to what she does. Joe is very creative.
Well, I just wanted to bring each one of you all some healthy snacks from our lunchroom and a free admitting to get into either any lunchroom in our county at any time. And I really appreciate you all, and I just want to make note, and I want you all to make note that we Freeman is watching nothing.
I'm gonna read the
Who's gonna give us day off? That's all he does. Now, days off.
If the government, Joe, am I right that if the government, if the shutdown continues in March, we're going to be into some problems, so we may need this back. So don't eat it all at once. That's right.
Are you kidding? I have 2 boys that are gonna tear this apart when I get home.
Husband's gonna be in there.
I want to touch on 2 other things. Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Jay.
The pension, we did meet with Representative Prunty, several of us did the other day, earlier this week, and talked about where we are there, and definitely was able to express our concerns, where this is going and how things are going to affect us. We just don't know where this is going at this point. We're somewhat optimistic about things, but I think they meet again on like February 5th when they go back into session, I believe. And as I understand, they're just kind of reworking things right now, but they seem to be listening and getting out and talking to the folks more, and how will this affect school districts. So I'm somewhat encouraged by that. TVA, there's really no update. You're hearing the same things I am. We're doing all we can to encourage and persuade them to keep Unit 3 running and up and at them. And then at the same time, Eric and I are trying to call and talk to folks too. If that doesn't happen, how does that affect us, and where do we go as we start planning for that? So we are in the process of that, doing our due diligence there, and we'll continue to report to you on that. Soft skills continues. I want to say I am seeing a difference. I've been in all the schools already this week, and as you go up and down the hallways, we're not perfect, but you just see a difference. And sometimes it's just talking about it, and kids, even high schools, you just see a difference. They look at you more, they speak to you more, and I'm sure the other skills such as interviewing and all that, that's happening too. But the simplest of things, you're just sitting there, I'm so proud of them. So I'm seeing it all over the district. So that is my superintendent's report, and if you have any questions, be glad to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on down to the personnel actions, Ms. Brown.
Welcome, Ms. Bard. We're glad to have you here with us.
Glad to be here.
Thank you to the rest of you all, and we appreciate you all so much because of the support that you give us and have continually given us, some of you, for several years. So I'm not bringing anything but the personnel action, so I'll go ahead and get started with that. So I'm about there with Lee, I guess, on that. The personnel actions for the period of December the 6th through January the 9th, 2019. In certified personnel employment, there were 3 actions. Resignation of certified personnel, there's 1 action. Reassignment of certified personnel, 2. Classified personnel employment, there were 3 actions. Resignation of classified personnel, 4 actions. And reassignment of classified personnel, 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we'll move on down to the board action items. Mr. Freeman, to consider the 2019-2020 school calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. First of all, just we'll make note the monthly attendance report. The month ended this past Monday, just too quick to be accurate with the numbers, so we'll have that, just too quick of a turnaround, so we'll have that for you next month. That'd be our 5th month. I bring forward tonight for you to consider the 2019-2020 school calendar. That time a year, believe it or not, to look forward to next year. I just want to go over a few things real quickly. I want to thank the calendar committee. We have followed the statute guidelines. We have 2 classified staff, 1 elementary teacher. We have a high school teacher, 2 members from our tourism commission, local, the various tourism commissions locally. We have a principal, a board member, myself, and we also have 2 parents, so very diverse, and that's based on the legislation that was passed last year. So just to dive right into some things, looking at the proposal that the committee came up with, just a few things. First of all, it does meet the guidelines. It's a 185-day calendar. That's the minimum. That includes 4 holidays. There's 1 open and closing day each, and that includes 4 PD days. This year, the committee is recommending that we go from 170 instructional days to 171. So that would increase the 1 day for the students, and the number of work days would would drop from, or planning days would drop from 5 to 4. So that's the biggest thing is adding that one extra day with kids, another day of instruction, and dropping one of the work days. We feel like those are beneficial, still like those, but we also valued the one more day of instructional experience for the kids. Okay. First day of school would begin on August the 7th, and that's really almost every district in our region. That's the day, except one, and that's because of a facility issue. They're starting either the 7th or the 8th, so it's right in line with everybody else. The last day of school would be May the 20th. I believe that falls on a Wednesday. The big one, fall break, I've starting to get the emails and phone calls with that. That would be October the 7th through the 11th, the second week. There would be a non-flex PD day, October the 14th. That would be to analyze state testing data. That's the Monday following, so there would not be a PD day the Friday before. This PD day that we've used the last couple of years is basically another day off, because the teachers usually have their PD day, and so we're wanting to use a day after the break to really dig in and look at that data. And we felt like it was valued by all the stakeholders. Once fall break is over, then the day before. So first semester would end on December the 18th. That's a Wednesday. That's midweek. Okay, first semester would have 84 instructional days compared to the 87 the second semester. So that's just 3 difference. That's really good. We try to keep those in mind as far as close in number. The makeup days is 21. I thought it was last year, but it's this year. We have to have 21 more makeup, or 21 makeup days. It's the most days you've missed over the last 5-year period, and this is the last of that. So hopefully we'll get down to that 7 to 10 category, but we still have to have 21 on the calendar. We did include Thursday and Friday, December 19th and 20th, just in case we had a little weather outbreak before the holidays. And then we also made January 2nd and 3rd. The New Year's Day, which is a holiday, falls on a Wednesday. And so actually, if you look at it, it's a pretty good little holiday break. It's about 2.5 weeks. But we thought that may improve some attendance, taking that Thursday and Friday off, but also making it available if we miss 4, 5, 6 days before the Christmas break. Okay. We do have potential makeup days, February the 14th and 17th. One of those is a work day, and one of those is a professional development. And then we also have a potential makeup days for students, March 20th and 23rd, which would be work days. And as you all know, with the work days, the board has passed this a few years ago, where if we're out of school and Mr. Davis deems it, the road's clear enough, we can come in and work. We've done that once already this year, and it gives us a whole lot of flexibility. The other thing is spring break. That would be the 6th through the 10th. That's the second week of April. You're going to have various districts. There's about half and half. Some are going to take the 6th through the 10th, and some will take the week before. We just thought a little bit better weather conditions, and we always think that if we can go a little bit deeper into the year, that may benefit as well. Start and end times would stay the same as far as school, but the 171 would give us a little bit more flexibility, and we just think it's the best interest for the kids at this time moving forward with their instruction. Okay. That's all I have. I know it's a lot. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions? No. All right, if not, I need a motion to approve the 2019-20 school calendar as motion by Mr. Johar. Second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving the 2019-20 school calendar, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go down to the next item on the agenda. Consider the regular monthly meeting dates and times for the 2019 calendar year for KRS 61.820. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Chairman Rager. Board members, Sherry, are you going to pull that up, those dates? Or I can just turn to those dates, if you will. We're going to have to maybe change one. We've just realized that February 21st, just kind of call it tonight, is KSBA. So we need to change that. I was thinking maybe go to the Monday on the 18th there, but is that an off day? Is that Monday? Lee, is that scheduled off on February 18th?
That's yes, that's.
You know, and that may not affect anything, but maybe somebody does have an extended break with their kids or something. So I'm thinking maybe the 19th, and we're kind of doing this on the fly here, so we sit on, but the 19th would be a Tuesday. If you don't care, let's consider that. That way, you know, if somebody wanted that extended break, if we don't have more snow. So put February 19th there, and the rest of the dates, I think we have, and I say we, Sherry's done a good job going through and trying to miss fall break, spring break, Christmas and all. So I think if you would change February 21st to February 19th, which would be a Tuesday on that one, it's our next one.
How about work session?
Well, I don't think we're going to need a work session on that one. Okay. I think we'll be good. So just the 19th will be all we would need in February, and that way we could be, whoever wants to go to KSBA, we don't have to worry about that. And the other thing I want you to consider, if you have any questions about those, that's one thing, but also we had talked about potentially staying here for our meetings. Again, totally pleasure of the board, but if we could go ahead and decide that now, she has to send this in to KDE, I think. So as y'all have those discussions, one thing would be, I think we can do it in one motion. One would be these dates with February 19th instead of the 21st, and the other is making a decision. Do you want to just say, hey, we still want to go to the schools, and Mr. Davis, you can decide the places later, or we want to stay here? And if you stay here on the 18th, regardless of what we do, the 18th will be at Felix Martin Hall. That's when we honor the retirees. So regardless, February 18th would be Felix Martin.
July.
What did I say? Not at all. July 18th. I'm sorry. I thought I was doing so well. So July 18th would be at Felix Martin Hall. Yeah. Thank you. So those are the conversations you need to have, and basically, I think keep these dates with the exception of the 19th instead of the 21st, and then where do you want to hold the meetings?
Okay. I'm fine with having the meetings here. I know we have had them in the schools in the past. It's a lot of work for the school staff, in my opinion. Plus, Sherry has to pack up everything and move it all. Chad, all of his equipment. So, I mean, I'm fine with, my opinion is fine to have them here, except for the one in July.
It's a lot of stress for the students.
Make a motion.
To have one more thing on the calendar.
You need a motion?
No, I'm just discussing it.
He's ready. He's ready.
I'm ready. Do it right here.
And the dates are fine, and February 19th suits me if it does everyone else.
6 months.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the board meeting dates, making the one in February 19th, and to have all board meetings except for the July meeting with the retiree reception at the Felix Martin Hall. What?
I second.
Oh, you second. I was like, okay. I heard a bunch of talk out there. Okay, bless you. All right, I made a motion in a second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of the monthly meeting dates and the location, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. I get easily distracted, sorry. Okay, we'll go down to item C, consider emergency certification, special education teacher, Ms. Browning.
I come to you tonight to ask your consideration for an emergency certification for a special ed education teacher. This position was determined to be needed due to an enrollment spike with our special ed students by our special ed director. So that's the reason we're coming to you and needing this position at all. It was posted in November of 2018, and after the interview process, an applicant was selected for this position. The applicant, however, only holds a teaching certificate in elementary education. If the district submits an application for the emergency certification, the teacher is eligible for this position. All prerequisites, if I said that right, have been met, and by the district and the applicant for that procedure to go through. The emergency certification is good for 1 year, or in this case, it would be for the remainder of this school year. This would allow us to recruit a fully certified teacher or allow this teacher to obtain the certification that she needs.
Is there any discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve the emergency certification for the special education teacher.
So moved.
Mr. Bowers has made a motion, and I will second. All in favor of considering the emergency certification for the special education teacher, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. On down to consideration of the textbook plan for Longest Elementary. Ms. Penny?
Good evening, Chairman Ryder and board members. Longest has been in a position where they had $364.44 left to spend of their textbook money. And you know, that's a pretty difficult task because you've seen textbook plans and the amount it takes to buy textbooks. But they have figured out a way to get their account down to zero balance. And I think they're our very last school to get their textbook fund, which is not a bad thing. They're still ahead of the game. Their textbook down to zero balance. As you know, the state's not planning on giving us any textbook money, and we don't know how long it'll be before we get it again. So this is the final textbook money. So they prepared a textbook plan outlining how they wish to spend their state textbook fund balance. They're requesting to purchase Benchmark Advanced Reading textbooks and resources published by the Benchmark Education Company for their second grade students. The total purchase is $8,500. And how they intend to pay for that is they'll use the remaining balance of their textbook funds, plus they have some needs assessment money that they will put toward that purchase. They also are going to put a very small amount of ADA money. I think it's around $153.56 of ADA money to complete that purchase also. So they're purchasing items that are not currently on the state textbook adoption list, but they have completed all the required state paperwork. And so I recommend that Longest Elementary be allowed to make the purchase of Benchmark Advanced student editions and resources for their second grade students.
Thank you. Is there any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve the purchase. Motion by Mr. Johar.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of considering the textbook plan purchase for Longest Elementary, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you again for all the countless hours you spend on that people, never see behind the scenes to help us out as a school district. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you. We'll move down to item E on the agenda, approve the comprehensive district and school improvement plans. Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Chairman Rager, board members. And again, welcome to Ms. Carter-Bard, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Each year, districts and schools across the state develop comprehensive improvement plans to guide their planning for the school year. These plans are based on the data received from state testing and are inclusive of numerous goals, strategies, and activities to support school improvement and, most importantly, student achievement. The value of a sound comprehensive plan lies in its ability to be changed as the need arises. Plans sometimes need to be only slightly amended or revised due to changing goals or practices. With input from the Planning Committee, the Comprehensive District Improvement Plan, or CDIP, has been revised and updated to include new goals that reflect the district's overall performance during the transition to a new accountability model for this school year. And we'll continue to talk more about that as it unrolls. The goals of the CDIP are based on an analysis of disaggregated data from multiple sources. Revisions have been made to each school's comprehensive plan as well to address the needs identified by multiple measures in order to establish goals that will bring each school into compliance during this transition period for the Kentucky Department of Education and have been approved by each school's site-based decision-making council. The Comprehensive School Improvement Plans, or CSIPs, have been updated and submitted through the eProof platform to the Kentucky Department of Education. Recent legislation requires the Board of Education to approve any school's improvement plan that is designated for targeted support and improvement. All school plans are available on our school websites for review. I recommend that the Board of Education approve the Comprehensive District Improvement Plan and the Comprehensive School Improvement Plans, including the TSI plans for the 2018-2019 school year.
It's the same thing we went over in a small group last year.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Johar. And when we do that again, you will have the opportunity to ask more in-depth questions from each school. They'll be able to share out any initiatives they're working on, things they know have been impactful that they're continuing, and perhaps ask for a little assistance, which is also part of it.
Make a motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Johar, and a second by Ms. Bard. All in favor of approving the comprehensive district and school improvement plans, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to item F, consider needs assessments for the 2019-20 school year. Mr. Wetzinger.
Thank you, Chairman Rager and the world's greatest school board members. Thank you.
Your nose is growing.
I'd like to invite you to pull out your chips because we have 6 items to go over with me. The needs assessment pursuant to board policy 242.4242. It's the school budget and purchasing policy. Principals are submit a list for a needs assessment for the next school year. This year, as we have in the past, we are requesting $4,000 for each school as well as the Renaissance Center, which is a budget line item of $40,000, and it has been put in the draft budget.
Everyone's had a chance to review all of this in your packets. Are we going to have any SBDM meetings?
Presentation?
Presentations.
We'll talk about that, but probably so. I'm thinking maybe March, if that would work.
I know we try to do that yearly, so.
Right.
Just a question, please. I'm going to make a motion to approve the $4,000 per school needs assessment for the 19-20 school year.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of considering the needs assessments for the 19-20 school year, given funding of $4,000 per school towards these items of need, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. Thank you. Down to item G, approve revised guaranteed energy savings proposal.
Okay, as you recall, in September, we awarded the Guaranteed Energy Savings Project to Harshaw Train. And then the following month, I gave you a proposal of 2 different options for a BG in order to do the renovations in both high schools. We submitted that to KDE. KDE, however, asked us to have Harshaw Train resubmit a proposal that reflects the higher BG1 that you all approved. This year, it's just a procedural thing in order to allow the project to continue on. So what you have before you is the same proposal that was given to you in September. However, it has the revised numbers in that for the entire project. So at this time, I'm asking that you approve this revised proposal. And I think it's page 56 is the one that would have the revised numbers on it. Other than that, other than the addition of the West Campus, there are no other changes.
Any discussion? And I have a motion by Mr. Johar to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of approving the revised guaranteed energy savings proposal, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And we're down to item H, to consider student resource officer agreement with the Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court.
Thank you. This is the addition of another SRO that was discussed previously and that has been budgeted. What this will do is that we're going to enter into an agreement with the Muhlenberg County Sheriff's Department, wherein the SRO will remain an employee of the Sheriff's Department, and we will fund that. And so that way they have the use of the Sheriff's Department's car, and really the only thing that the district is liable for is paying the salary and benefits.
So we'll have 4 SROs?
Yes.
Yes.
So all 4, both middle and both high school will be, and Brent will take care of all the elementaries?
We will actually have 5.
That's correct.
If we approve H and I, we will have 5. East have 1 west, north middle, south middle, then 1 primarily doing the elementaries. So, and the one I'm trying to, again, say this, we'll go without names here, but the one who's been working primarily elementaries has also really been helping during the last week, getting to the Renaissance Center and making sure we're covered there as well. So they're not, stuck there. We can use them there, but that's generally where they'll be. But that will be a 5th one, which is better than most districts, and I'm pleased with that.
Is there any discussion? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the consideration for SRO and the Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court. Second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of considering the student resource officer agreement in the Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And item I is to consider student resource officer agreement with the Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court.
Thank you again. This one, basically, the Board of Education we're seeking to move the current SRO that is under the Muhlenberg County Police Department. It's the county police department. We're going to move it to the Sheriff's Department, so the fiscal court's going to dissolve the county police department, absorb that person underneath the Sheriff's Department. Right now, we currently fund them. No funding changes are going to occur at this time. It's just an item to move them underneath the Sheriff's Department, which will gain the use of a Sheriff's Department vehicle. They're going to be covered underneath the Sheriff's Department insurance, those sorts of things. So it's another good move. And I've also worked with the county attorney on all the agreements that you guys have.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this position? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Wells. Second by Mr. Bowers. All in favor of considering the student resource officer agreement with the Muhlenberg County Fiscal Court, which is a current position, just with some changes, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And J is to consider the annual financial audit. Mr. Blutzinger.
As we discussed on Monday night with Mr. White, we did have our audit. We had a very good audit again. Our financial position is still strong at this time. I feel good working with them moving forward. I believe that they scrutinize the district quite well. They also work with us to correct anything that we've had. One thing that I don't know if I mentioned on Monday night or not, but if you notice in the comments section in the back, when they do have comments for the central office, each school, you'll notice that it says all previous year items were corrected. And I think that speaks volumes to the staff that work with me, and as well as the ones that work out in every school, because they take to heart what the auditors tell them. They also work with the auditors and me and Terry and all of our employees employees in the finance department to correct them, and I think that's an outstanding thing, and I'm very proud of the team that we have assembled. So at this time, I'm asking you to consider the financial audit and accept it as written.
Is there any discussion?
I would just like to say, as a new board member, going through the audit notebook was, if you haven't done that in a school district, I want to tell you it's a long process, and the work that goes into that. I have a new appreciation for your job, as well as the other people that work with you.
Well, thank you.
You did a fabulous job. Thank you.
I second that.
Yes.
All right, I make a motion to consider the annual financial audit.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of considering the annual financial audit presented to us on Monday night, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none.
Thank you. And I will just echo again that it's the people I'm surrounded by. So I think that's it's my team. So I appreciate them. So now I'm going to bring to you the 2020 draft budget. Again, we discussed this on Monday night. And this is going to also just visualize some of the things that we discussed, okay? So let's review this. The process, again, it starts with the draft budget, then we move to the tentative budget, and then the working budget. So we always do, when we go into budget, there's all kinds of budget considerations that we have. We look at the revenues, we'll go over the expenses, and then we'll move on. So budget considerations. We always look at long-term sustainability. That's the main goal in a lot of, when we look at the budget and projecting forward. Revenue changes over time. How do we account for the needs for the future to avoid as many tax increases as possible. So we also look at the pension reform expense increases. The CRS expense increase to the general fund, again, was estimated approximately $270,000. And again, please note this without overtime and special trips calculated, as they're variable annual costs, so they vary. So those are not in there. We also look at the major projects that are needed, maintenance issues, HVAC, small units, and just regular maintenance issues, roofing, all that stuff. Okay, I just mentioned that. I apologize. The other thing that I did want to note, this pension reform, it's on the table again right now. Really the big thing I think for us is that we're positioned well in terms of our cash on hand and our ability to absorb some of the costs that are coming down the pipe. However, there's always that bit of uncertainty. That's the part where we kind of have to be ever vigilant when we do these budgets and making sure that we're just keeping on top of these things. That's why Mr. Davis and I have discussions, we try to get as pointed as possible with the legislators and say, this is the things that we need in order to move forward. Also, the state budget considerations also need to be taken into account. Just as Ms. Roberts said, there's no textbook funding, in the budget. So that was about $120,000 that was part of the budget, and then PD funds was another $70,000. So I mean, we had $190,000 is basically out of the budget that we're going to have to cover in some form or fashion through the general fund. So let's look at the revenue line item notable changes. I increased the beginning balance based on the projections. Like when you see the extended financial picture, I take those items and I look at the projected expenses and that through the rest of the year and try to come up with a best guess on the beginning balance. Fortunately, we've been able to actually exceed that a little bit each year, but we're not looking to increase it so drastically every year. So that's something that I do try to keep in mind. We decreased the SEEK dollars by 2.56%, which translates to a 3% ADA reduction. And I increased on behalf amounts proportionate to salary expense. So that's not, again, on behalfs, if you recall, they're a non-cash item. They zero each other out. So on the revenue side equals the expense side. So general fund revenues, local revenue, we expect about 15.2 million. The beginning balance, again, is 16.8. Miscellaneous revenue, about 3,000. Medicaid, we're hovering around 200,000 each year. That fluctuates based on some of the billing that we're able to do. On behalf amounts are about 11.3 million, and state revenues, including SEEK, is at about 18.582 million. And SEEK accounts for 18.498 million, which is a decrease of about $486,000 from this current year. So that's a total general fund revenues, including the beginning balance, of 62.2 million. So on to expenses. The expense line item notables that we have for you are, we increased the salary expense by 1.5%. This is a step increase estimate based on years of experience, rank changes, those sorts of things. We try to give a little bit of buffer in there on those sorts of items. We allocated funds to security cameras for Central City Elementary and Greenville Elementary. Again, it's about $51,000 in that line item. And we've budgeted $200,000 in vehicles to transportation. And as always, we reduce and reallocate any possible area in which minimal expenses have occurred. So we are looking at budgeted to actual every year and say, if something isn't spent out of that line item, we're going to move it to something where, such as safety, those sorts of things. So we don't want to budget, over budget in areas, but there are things that we do have to budget for just in case. We may not spend some of those, but we do have to budget for it so that it doesn't hit us and surprise us out of nowhere. So, general fund expenditures. Instruction, about 29.6 million. Student support service, almost 1.6 million. Instructional support services, 890,000. District admin support, about 1.8 million. School admin support, about 2.67 million. Business support service, which includes tech and those sorts of things, about 1.1 million. Plant operations and maintenance, it's almost at $8 million. One of the things I will mention to you is that over the course of the past 3 years, we've had 2 rate increases in electric. Our district has done fantastic. The schools and working with Harshaw, we've been able to keep our electric bills flat. So where other districts are experiencing increases of 8-9% in their electric costs, which is about $100,000 for us, we've been able to remain pretty much flat. So I'm really, really proud of that, and I'm really proud of the work that everyone in our school does, and the fact that our maintenance team does such a wonderful job maintaining the equipment, keeping it running as efficiently as possible, keeping the buildings sealed up tight. Those sorts of things, they make a big, big difference. And so I'm really proud of them for that.
And excited, but excited to see what happens with East and West once we get the HVAC, because they're eating us up. And that's going to get a lot better in the lighting as they change to the LEDs and all. We look to see that even improve.
One of the gentlemen that I speak with frequently is from Butler County. You wouldn't think this, but Butler County has some of the oldest buildings in the state, but they also are number 2 in the cost per square foot on their electric bills. And it's just, so I lean on him a lot on, like, what are you doing? What are you doing to get that way? And. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And it's just, so I lean on him a lot on, like, what are you doing? What are you doing to get that way? And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're installing LED. And they just had a Harshaw project where they're ins and he said electric bills are being cut between 20 and 25%. I had that conversation with him last week. So I mean, just the LED side of that is gonna help us. And so again, those savings are gonna get applied to the bonds that we do have to take out of this. But again, this is where, we don't want to hold cash too much, but having that cash on hand when we don't have as much bonding capacity as other districts, it's a vital thing. We are able to absorb additional costs far easier than most other districts in the state. And I'm really proud of our district for coming from where we were, and it took everyone in the district, every last person. Transportation, $4.3 million. That's another area where, we have aging fleet. However, we were able to buy a significant number of buses in the last couple of years, and I'm really glad for that, but they also maintain our fleet like no other. So, we've got an incredible staff in this district, so we're awesome. I can't even say anything more than that. Food service operations, about $45,000. That basically covers the lunchroom monitors that are in each school. Community service, about $371,000. Fund transfers are at $115,000. That may be adjusted. That was some of the funds that were getting moved from food service to the general fund. You may see a different number in there when we finalize things, or not really finalize things, but we fine-tune things in the tentative budget. Our contingency is at about $11.7 million. Again, that's about 18%. That's really good. And as Laney was mentioned to you on Monday night, that covers about 5 months of expenses. So, our cash on hand. That right there will cover about 3 months of expenses, but all the cash that we have on hand covers about 5 months of expenses. So we're sitting quite well in that respect. So committed funds. These amounts are, these funds are ones that we will put on our balance sheet that say, we have projects that are coming up that we want to let the public know that, again, we do have that cash on hand, but these funds are committed to areas that we have in the future, a lot of infrastructure for the schools and everything like that. So those amounts will be determined in the tentative budget as we get closer to the end of the year, knowing what our retirement commitment will be, so in the major renovation items. And again, we'll have those discussions as we move forward with our budgeting committee. So, are there any questions? What's that?
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
All right, if not, I need a motion to consider the draft budget for the 1920 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bowers.
Second.
Second by Ms. Wells. All in favor of considering the draft budget for the 2019-20 school year, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We're down to the board consent agenda items, and there's several routine items in there this month. Leave of absence request. We have got the non-resident contracts with the different school districts that we approve each year, the nutrition and physical activity report, and the board member attendance at the KSBA Winter Symposium, facilities use agreement, fundraising request, and field trip request, all included in this consent agenda item. Everyone's had a chance to review all of that. Is there any discussion? If not, I need a motion to approve the board consent agenda items.
A motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Bard, second by Mr. Johar. All in favor of approving the board consent agenda items, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. And we're down to adjournment. Motion to adjourn. A motion by Ms. Wells. Second by Ms. Barr. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. All opposed? I hear none. We're adjourned.